So today I would want to talk about a very good topic that many people will be interested in, and that is how to be truly free. And that's that, we will talk about that and we'll discuss that, how to be really free, and what does being free mean, and what does being enslaved mean. And you will actually see it yourself that it's true what I'm saying. So let's begin. I would want to start off by saying that the more things you own, the more things you will be owning, the less free you're going to be. And that is very true, because the more things you will be owning, the more you need to pay, the more loans you have, the more hours you work, the more you can afford, the richer you will get, the more of a slave you will be to the system, to the slavery, of course, which is the civilization, domestication of humans. So basically the people that are the richest are the biggest slaves on earth, like the ones who work so many hours a week and have the best looking cars because they work so much. Even if you're a businessman, whatever, if you're whatever you do, you'll be working a lot. I mean, all the time. If you want a lot of things, that's because it enslaves you. So basically, the more you work, the more you have, the more of a slave you will be. Every person will age themselves and be a slave if they have a lot of things. And there's no exception. There is no exception. Find me one exception. Bill Gates, they all went to school like slaves. Or your father will be a slave because he will need to do all the work. And then when he passes away, I mean, you can employ someone, but still, there still will be a need to be a slave to keep up the riches. So, meaning is that the less you have, the more free you are. Literally, look at the freest animals on earth. Look at a crow in a city. It's free. It doesn't wake up at 8 a.m. It wakes up whenever it wants. It eats whenever it wants. It scavenges food. And it's free. It doesn't need to pay anything. It's not slave to anyone, to any bank or anyone. Unlike humans who are slave to banks and who are slave to companies to work at, because they want to have all these riches that are artificial, man-made, doesn't exist anyway, nonsense. So, meaning is, if you would really want to be free, you would live in nature. That's real freedom. No loans, no banks, no waking up to work. You eat for free whenever you want. You're carnivore as human. You sleep whenever you want. You do whatever you want. That's real freedom. Everything else you see is slavery, which is the civilization, the city, these things you see around me, is a concrete jungle slavery, imprisonment of humans to enslave humans, basically, to make them just domesticated slaves. So they're not gonna be truly free. So they do obey all the man-made nonsense, all the rules, and be a slave, and not be independent on their own, not know how to hunt food and how to survive in the wilderness, how to be truly free. That's why it's made, to brainwash you. And if the more money you make, the more you age yourself, the faster you die, and the more uglier you will get, and the worse your life will be. The less money you have, the more nothing you have, the more free you are. And the opposite is true. The less money you have, the more free you are. That's true. So that's what I wanted to explain, is you going to work right now and thinking you have some freedom with the money. You know, you're a slave. You're a slave. You don't know how to hunt your own food. You don't know how to live alone in the wilderness. You're dependent on society like a little girl. You're dependent on man to make your own food in the shop and to do all of these things. You have no clue how to hunt, and you would even feel bad to hunt. Oh, poor animal, I don't want to slit its throat. Oh no, it's just the pussification of the mankind, you know. So all these rich guys you see with BMWs, they're pussies, they're slaves, because they depend on a man to make them food. They cannot hunt their own food, and they depend on a man to build them shelter, and they depend on a man. They're all weak. And the high-ranking models like Jordan Barrett and Herman Drago, Oh, you Mogyu, the Mogyu. Okay, and can they hunt their own food? Can they like build their own shelter in nature and hunt their own food? No, they're dependent on a man-made packaging in a man-made shop in a domesticated civilization society to give them their food. They're not really free. Yes, they have a good-looking face that resembles freedom, real hunter-gatherer, but they're not really free. They're just trying to imitate what a real free man looks like. That's why humans are attracted to these masculine faces. The women are attracted because it represents freedom, independence, right? The hunter-gatherer, you know. But it's just the imitation, of course. And every model is the weakest, the losers, of course, on this earth. But you already understand that. I explained you now. And they are slaves. They are slaves. They obey what everyone tells them to do. Of course, I'm a slave too at this moment. And the more money you make, the more you will age, and the more of a slave you will be. So money will never make you really happy. Neither will it make you really free. And yeah, again, only thing it's meant to do is it's a man-made paper, meant to enslave you and to age you. That's the only thing that will happen to you when you obey the money. So I get it. Yes, you need money in the slave system to, you know, again, buy food and stuff. But whenever you make fun of the Zulu tribe or whatever, the Maasai warriors and all this in Africa, all their dumb stick, you know, cavemen, they're really free, and you're the slave. You literally are. You depend on a man to give you house and food. You're domesticated, weak fool. You know. So to be really free, save up money, I would suppose, and just try to live more freely. Become a hunter or do something like this. Don't just depend on man so much. Let's look at the example again. Good slave that makes lots of money. Wake up at 7 a.m. Work till 5 p.m. Doing man-made things for no reason, of course, because everything is free. House, food is free. You don't never need to do this. So again, you do this, and then you make money, being a good slave, obedience. And doesn't matter what position you are. Even a CEO. If you're a CEO, you're the biggest slave loser, because you're the most dependent on the money, man-made paper. And the more money you have, the more you work, the more you age yourself, the less you live, the more wrinkles all of this, you understand? So the less money you have, the less you work, the less you have, only a spear and a house, wooden house, you're actually gonna live longer, age less, and all of this, which is good. So that's what I would want to say, you know, that men nowadays are not really free. I don't know if you can call them man even, because all of this slavery just brainwashed these people to dress like furies, like the prey, you know, that would get killed by human. It doesn't matter, even if you dress as a bear and a wolf, you're still a prey then. Human is the ultimate apex predator, meant to throw things at animals to kill them and to stab their necks, of course, and then eat them. Human is the most apex predator creature on the earth. No one is equal to human. No animal will ever be equal to a human. So that's what I wanted to say. Is that that's all it is. Basically, society is domestication of humans to enslave them and to pussify them, and to make sure they will never be independent because they lost their ability to hunt and all of these things. So best thing you can do is get your family or your loved ones, go to nature and live freely. You will enjoy life. You will sleep as long as you want. You will eat whenever you want. You will eat whatever steaks you want. Think about the most expensive food is steak, but I already discussed this in the previous video, I think. And that's what I would want to say, basically. Oh, I'm a YouTuber. I make money off YouTube. No, you're a slave. Same as everyone else in society, domesticated civilization. You're a slave. You're forced. You. For example, many of them are forced to even make these videos that they don't even enjoy. They just want to make money off it. So they have to write the script and all of this. and then they need to play it out, and they're like, fuck, finally the video is over, I can eat. Slave. You're a slave. You're dependent on a man to give you food and to give you shelter. You're a slave to the mankind, to civilization, domesticated, and you have no intention or plans of even leaving it. That's how brainwashed you are. I mean, if you wake up every day at 8 a.m. like a slave, you're never going to... I already say this, 90% of humans are never going to get 10 hours of sleep. You're a human, you sleep whenever you want, you're supposed to be free, okay? That's why all the humans will have damaged hearts by the time they're 60, heart attacks, only all this. Yes, it's the slavery seed oil food, but it's also because you're a slave, you're damaging your heart. Every time you need to wake up and do this fucking slavery nonsense, sit at the desk or whatever, lift man-made fucking nonsense for no reason, you're damaging your heart, you're damaging your lungs. You will develop lung problems and heart problems. You will die quicker. Main things, the waking up, of course it affects your cortisol and all this, but you will mainly screw up your heart and lungs to the point that it will be unfixable in your 60s, 70s. And the lung cancer, it's not from cigarettes only, all the smoke from the man-made cars. This right here, this man-made car, you know, to drive me to a man-made building. Of course, I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not trying to free myself from this. I'm trying to work on it. But as I'm saying again, it's all gonna damage you. So the best thing you can do for your health, you know, and for your well-being is avoid this at all costs. They even tricked women into being slaves. They said, go and empower yourself, damage your body, age yourself. Literally, like making women go to school and work is literally should be a crime. You're literally like damaging their healths. And they're women, so they have less testosterone, their body cannot cope with the stress as much. I already explained this before. So the best thing you can do as a real man is to go into a nature, hunt your own food, get your own shelter, and make sure your woman doesn't need to do any of this, because it damages the body, you know. Even if you're sprinting or any of this in nature, it ages you, you know, like because the more you would sprint and still not get prey, you would be a bad hunter, so you'd get punished and your health would get worse, etc. If you constantly, for example, just run. Exactly, if you just run and don't catch prey and run for no reason, your health would get damaged, and that's really the outcome, even. Because the people who run and are marathon runners and all this, they all have fucked up health, you know, when you look it up. They're all, nature recognizes it as bad hunter, you understand? So, yeah. So you need to understand, the freest humans, for example, in this generation would be, you could say that could be literally like little kids maybe, because when they go into the first kindergarten, the first grade, blah blah, there's no loans, there's no any jobs for them, there's not any of this slavery. They get fed for free, they get shelter for free, and yes, maybe they go to kindergarten and all this, but they play there. They're not forced to do any of these man-made symbols for no reason. They are definitely more free than all of adult humans. But of course, the freest beings on this earth are animals, especially animals in wilderness. They're the true free beings on this earth. Keep in mind, for example, there's a BMW on this road right now. He's more of a slave, or she's more of a slave than I am, because I drive a less good car than this driver, because he or she works more, you know, and he's more of a, or she's more of a slave to the system to make more money, to feed the car, needs more gas, more fuel, it fucking needs higher expensive repairs. It's all slavery. They made all these man-made brands to enslave you, to make you a better slave for them. If you have the best clothing brands and all this and best car, you're a slave, you're a better slave than others. The people who live in nature are the freest. They are the real non-enslaved people. They will laugh at you. What brands? What BMW? What Gucci? You're a slave. You need to pay this high expensive money that you work so hard for, and you work so many hours, you know, on this nonsense goal that just it's nonsense. It's only damaging you. And anyone that will react to this video, a hypocrite denier of what I'm saying that is true, will be like, oh, but I'm free, bro. oh, but I love to make YouTube, I love to make any videos or anything and go to work. No, you're only doing it so because you want to eat, because you're not a man. You don't know how to hunt your own food, and you're dependent on civilization. You're dependent on other men to make you food, and you're dependent on men to, you know, give you shelter. That's why you do this. You wouldn't do it if you wouldn't need to. You understand? So that's why you only do it. It's not that you want to do it. You're just like how do you say, domesticated. You don't know how to really get your own things. So anyone who will react to this video or whatever, you all do it, the work and the school, because you're domesticated. You don't know how to make your own, how to get your own food, how to get your own shelter. Understand? Or then you're in a case where you're working on it. Then okay, fine. You're working on getting really free. Okay. Like you're working on getting into nature. Okay, that's understandable. You're working on getting maybe stuff that's needed there. Okay, makes sense. But if anything else than that, you're enslaving yourself. There's no point or reasoning to it. Or maybe you're doing it to get a woman, of course, again, which is just which again is just slavery. It's to enslave men. So they made women stuck in civilization and society. So they enslave men, so that they are working in all this repetitive cycle, you know, so that they can provide for the woman. Real providence is hunting, of course, and shelter, building in nature. But you got the point of this video, you know, you really got the point, you all got the point of this video. Only real free humans are the ones who live naturally and do what they want, who eat, you know, meat in nature, and who hunt their own food, which is, as I said right now, and who build their own shelter for free without any buying of the land, without any of this nonsense. They're real free humans. And anyone who will try to tell you otherwise is just trying to enslave you and domesticate you. Keep that in mind. A good example would be how a wife of John in Red Dead Redemption 2 wanted him to buy a land and get her a house and be a good slave to the loan and to the bank. She domesticates him. And she couldn't domesticate any of the other gang member because they're all free. And that's why she, I guess she didn't like it. I don't know. But just keep this in mind. Imagine explaining to an animal, a crow or whatever, what work is and what getting a food from shop is, and what waking up to school or work is at 8 a.m. They would think you're mentally ill. They would think you're mentally ill. If you think, oh, hey crow, or hey wolf, you know, I have to wake up at 8 a.m. to go get my food from a shop because I'm a slave and I cannot hunt my own food like you. I'm domesticated little, I cannot swear a lot, but yeah, because of YouTube gonna demonetize this video already. I already swear, but I'm a weak little, you know, twat. I cannot get my own food. I cannot build my own shelter, so I need to be domesticated and go to work and school and whatnot, you know. And yeah, so I'm a good slave. They would think you're crazy. What school, man? What the job? They would say, you know, there's nature, there's wood, you make your own shelter, there's stone, you make your own weapon, there's you know, you understand. What work? You hunt your own food. You can hunt your own food, you can get your own shelter. You don't need to do any of this work and all this school nonsense. You don't need to do it. It's a choice to do it. So keep in mind, it's not like you're going to die if you don't get the school or if you don't get the job. Nope. You're still going to be free and live. You make your own tools in nature. You get your own wood. You can live for free. That's how it always was. So humans are not actually, yeah, they are all enslaved and brainwashed. But again, they don't need to be. They just simply choose to be.